Hello everyone! We are so close to the end of the month. I feel like November has completely flown by, but we are not done hunting yet. We still have plenty of scavenger hunt prompts to go. So let's see who the next booktuber is.
Hey everyone, it's Zahava here from Paler17 Reads. I'm so excited to have been selected by Danny to supply a prompt for this year's Bucket Listathon and Readathon. I'm so excited to tell you guys what I have thought up. So because I am a content creator and a booktuber, I tend to find myself reading a lot of books per month, and unfortunately, sometimes that can mean reading books a little quicker than I normally would because I have content to bring forth to you guys and create and report upon and all that jazz. So it got me thinking, when I used to read before I was a content creator, I used to really take my time, really absorb the books. You know, you pay money for them, you want to enjoy it, it's a hobby, but now creating content, it tends to make me rush through my books a little more, in fact, a lot more, if I'm being honest, than I used to. So I was thinking a really interesting prompt would be to take a book and just do the complete opposite of what my normal reading pace would be. And that is what I put to you. So if you are someone who normally takes their time reading a book, savors every word, every line, every page, I challenge you to consume your book in a manner that is a little quicker than you are used to. So perhaps you might want to try it on audiobook on a higher speed, or you might want to just pick up your speed as you're reading if you can. Or alternately, if you are someone that reads books really quickly, my challenge to you would be to slow yourself down and read a book and really take your time and savor every moment, every page, every word, and just really take your time and get your money's worth out of your book. So you could do either one, or you could do both, and it could be a book that you haven't read, or it could be a book that you've already read. Let's say you've read it really slowly the first time, maybe you want to read it a little quicker the second time, or if you read it too quickly the first time, maybe you want to slow yourself down and read it a lot more slowly the second time. Now, that being said, there is no restriction on page count or genre. If you would like to choose a YA book, a middle grade book, or a book that is for adults, but it's a novella, you can go right ahead and do that. The point of the exercise is to challenge you to do something different than your normal cadence and to see how that resonates with you and what you can glean from that experience. And maybe you'll learn something new about yourself in the process.
Oh, Zahava. I love this prompt, but it also pains me because this is a totally relatable thing that I know that I have done, especially once I've gotten on to BookTube and become more of an audiobook reader. You know, I found that button that allowed me to listen to books faster than I typically would, and I have had to tell myself in recent days that it is okay for me to listen to a book at less than 2 times speed. But I'm going to take your prompt and go one step further and pick a physical TBR book, one that I do not have an audiobook for, and I'm even going to kind of schedule out my read so I don't rush through it because I am really excited about this. That is The Engines of War. This is the finale, I think, for the Age of Uprising series that I've absolutely loved by R.S. Ford, and I can't wait to be back with these characters. But I also know that when I'm getting into a physical read, sometimes I will pressure myself to make sure that I'm reading a certain number of pages a day, and I am going to do that, but I'm going to limit it this time and say I am only allowed to read 25 pages a day. I can't go over that. I can go under it, but I can't go over it. So 25 pages a day. I should still be able to finish this by the end of the year, and hopefully I will be able to finish it by the end of the year, I guess. That's wishful thinking because I do have several other TBR books that I will be reading, but I'm thinking if I push that this has to be 25 pages per day, that gives me other time for other books, but I can still kind of savor this read. So I'm interested to see how all of you take this prompt and whether or not this means you're going to be speeding up your reading or maybe trying an audiobook at a higher speed if that's not something that you typically do, or if you're going to be maybe forcing yourself into a schedule of reading and just seeing how you feel at the end of it. I think it's an interesting experiment with our reading. I love it when people can go into a task and kind of figure out, okay, did I like this change? Did I not like it? What did I gain from it? I think it's going to be interesting for sure. I am going to give you guys a recommendation, and with this recommendation, I think I'm assuming that you guys will be slowing down your reading. So if you are speeding it up, you could also speed it up. with what I'm going to give you as well. But I think a lot of people breeze through these. And so I think it would be interesting to read a manga on a more stretched out time frame. So this is the manga Freyrin, which follows an elf character whose name is Freyrin, and she has a group of individuals who in the past, prior to this first volume being published, or the first volume taking place, you have this war that has gone on. She's been with these individuals for, I think, 50 years, if I remember correctly. And because of her very long life, she, goes on about her business, and some of the relationships that were formed throughout the 50 years kind of go by the wayside. And the whole series is kind of about her reflecting on herself. She's kind of contemplating whether or not she needs to adapt and change how she views people because of their differences in lifespans. 50 years for someone is half their life, or it could be their full life, depending on the race that they are. And so she has found that she happened to be a lot more important to some of the other people that she had gone through this war with than she deemed them, because they were kind of a blink, in her life. It was a blink of an eye. And I really loved that. I haven't read the entire, I think it's still ongoing, if I remember correctly, but I have only read the first 2 volumes. But manga is something that I tend to rush through, and I haven't with this series. And I would recommend that you not rush through it either, because I have really enjoyed it, but I tend to sit down and read this whole volume in one setting. Or read multiple volumes in one setting. And I think it would be interesting to see what your thoughts of the story would be if you would read a certain number of pages a day, 20 pages a day or whatever. So anyway, that's my recommendation for you. It's a really great series if you guys haven't heard of it. I'm sure that you have, because I know it's really popular. But yeah, I will be really excited to see where this prompt takes the Discord conversations that we've been having throughout the scavenger hunt. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. If you guys are not familiar with Sahava's channel, please go and check her out. I have linked her in the description down below, and I would love to see all of you go and say hello and give her channel some support. And I will see you guys in the next prompt.